Alright, this video will show you how to do a chi-square goodness of fit test if you're not given the frequencies, and your first step has to be to create those frequencies. So let's say you do another Likert statement and you collect all the answers to one of your questions in a column like this. So you had 23 people respond, and of these 23 people who responded, here's all their answers. So here's all our answers to those questions, given Likert statements of strongly disagree, disagree, all that other stuff. I made those answers numeric, 1 for strongly disagree, 5 for strongly agree. And now I want to build a frequency table from these. So in order to do that, I first have to figure out what my bins are. So my bins are going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then I'm going to go over here to data analysis. And I'm going to choose histogram. My input range is going to be these answers. And my bin range is going to be these. And I do have labels. And I want my output range to be right next to my bins. And I want my chart output. And bing, there we go. The chart output just gives me the picture of the histogram, which I always kind of like to see. I'm just going to move it off to the side because we don't need it, but technically I like having it there. So here's my bins, here's my frequency. So this is my actual frequency. Now next to my frequency, once I get my actual frequency, I have to go through and I have to do an expected frequency. To get the expected frequency, I'm going to highlight these, except for the more column. Just highlight these first 5. Come down here, get an average of 4.6. Put that here in expected. Now, one of the things I want to do here, 4.6, 4.6, 4.6, 4.6, 4.6. So when I have that, I now get to do my chi-test. Now, before I do my chi-test, I want to make sure I state my hypotheses. And again, I'm going to color it just so we can see it a little bit nicer here. So my hypotheses, H sub 0 is going to be no group preference. And H1 is that there's a group preference. Now, I'd be a little bit fancier if I were typing this out, but I'm just showing you an example of how to do this in Excel. So if you had this in context, you'd fancify your H sub 0 and H sub 1 to the point where they mean a little bit more. But in this case, we're fine. So there's my hypotheses. Now I need to get a p-value. So I'm going to come up here. I'm going to hit my formula bar. I'm going to do a chi-test. Now I've done it recently, so it's sitting right here. If it's not hitting here, you just go up to the top, you type chi-test, hit enter, it shows up right there, you hit OK, highlight your actual range, which is right here, again except for the 0, highlight my expected range, which is right there, hit OK, and I get a p-value of 0.44. Now I want to compare my p-value to 0.05. Well, p is equal to 0.44. Since p is greater than 0.05, we do not have evidence to reject H sub O. Therefore, we must retain the null hypothesis. And there you go. There's a chi-test once you have to make your own histogram.